Where do we run? Where do we run? Where do we go now? Where do we love? Where do we love? After all the fallout, tracing circles on my mind. What to do with all this time? Give you up or make you mine. So give me one more night to hold you. One more night, I need one more night.
Hello guys, is this thing working? Are we on? Are we live? How's it going? Welcome. Neil, what's going on? Welcome everyone. Sorry I missed last week. Sorry about that. Had a lot going on recently. It's been a weird couple of weeks, but we're back as if nothing happened. The Romanian walker. You look like Michael C. Hall. Who's that? Michael, what's going on? You're right. Who's Michael C. Hall? I'm gonna have to Google him now, ain't I? Do I? This guy. Dexter. BJW, what's going on? Nasty, welcome. Mitchell. Oh, thanks, mate. You think I look like this guy? Let me try and find the best looking picture of him, and then I'll agree with you. With a little beard. I look like a thumb when I'm clean shaven. I had the worst haircut of my life today. Or the worst haircut I've had for a while. Look how he's left my beard. Or my... He hasn't even blended it in. You see that? He's just cut it straight. What's that all about? It's wonky underneath. I think he was scared of my hair. He was like... He was sort of jabbing at me. And he looked a bit intimidated by my hair. And he didn't want to... He was just taking little tiny bits off at a time. I was just like, come on, get in there. Just... You know what I mean? Thanks, Nasty. You're right, mate. Evening PJW. What's going on? Right, should we get into it? Oh, I've just had dinner, so I'm full. I caught a little bit of Dave's video earlier, and he's what if you haven't seen it already, go and have a look at his latest video. It's insane. Look at this. I do need to get YouTube Premium, don't I? YouTube, is it called YouTube Red? Look what he's bought. Look at him. Dave. That's so good. It's so good. Look what he's bought as a work van. That's insane. I'm not going to watch it here. You guys need to go and watch that yourselves. That's so funny. To be honest, I've not got much prepared. My head's been like a little bit all over the place, to be honest. So I've tried to put a few things together. How are you guys? How is it? Everyone's week going okay? Is anyone else quiet? Anyone else? Are you guys still getting work, or is it just me that's gone quiet? I think I've seen quite a few posts from other people saying that they're not as busy as they have been. I took a call from Pure Seal earlier, and I think they've, just because of the weather, like no one's sealing at the moment because it's been so, the rain's been so constant. You can't get like a consistent, like a 2 days of nice weather. It's just not possible at the minute. I have YouTube Premium and it's the best $11.99 each month, especially for music. What does YouTube Premium give you in terms of music, Nasty? Especially for music. What do you mean by that? Does it turn into like Spotify? I had to blur out the background on one of my videos. Didn't realise there was an old man sunbathing topless over the fence. No way. Oh dear. Oh dear. Finished a block paving job today. Wait until Thursday to resand and seal. Yeah, I think Wednesday and Thursday this week is going to be okay. I had two jobs booked in today. The one was actually for my mum. There's no way I can say this without it sounding rude. I've got to trim my mum's bush, the rear bush. She got the professionals to do it a couple of years ago, and I think she just sort of wants to. She says, if I can pay you to do it instead, I'd rather keep the money in the family. I think that's what she's thinking. So I rent some big whizzers, some big overhead wizards, and I trim all the bushes. I'm pretty good at it, to be fair. I quite enjoy it. Did my nan's as well about a year back. That turned out really well. She said it's the best it's ever looked, that is. And then, so I didn't really want to do that while it was raining this morning. To be fair, it's brightened up this afternoon. It's been really nice this afternoon, so I could have just pushed it back really, but then I got involved in lots of other stuff. I also was due to go back to resand Harry's driveway. So the video that I've just put out this evening, this one, I went back to resand this one. I was going to go back to resand this one, and it was just too wet, so I couldn't do it. What did you guys think of the video? Any feedback? I had a right laugh when I saw the video. Yeah, I can imagine, mate. When you're going back in and like editing it, you saw it. Once you get premium, you can't go back. Trust me. $11.99 a month. That seems like a lot though. No ads. It will just roll from track to track. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I get that if you're like into your music, but I suppose if you want to watch music videos as well, uninterrupted, yes. But I've got Spotify, so the music, I've got Spotify Premium, so the music's like, if I just want to listen, then I'll use Spotify Premium. But I suppose if you want to watch the music videos as well, or like live performances, long live performances, you don't want adverts interrupting that really. I used to watch Linkin Park live in Texas about once every 3 months, all the way through. It's like a 3-hour set, I think. Insane. Was it 3 hours? Roughly 3 hours, I think. I remember it being super long. Send your number, I'll WhatsApp you the APK. What's the APK? The APK? Do you mean something for my website? APK? I recognise that from like mobile game development stuff. What does APK mean? Yeah. A file format. I can play music videos and minimize it and run it in the background. Pretty sure you can get YouTube Music app, but not use that. Oh, that's the other thing you can do. Yeah, you can watch videos, because that's what I used to want to do it with the Joe Rogan podcast when he was on YouTube. I used to want to minimize it and just have the audio in the background, but I couldn't do it unless I had YouTube Premium. That was it, I remember. Evening Arden, how you doing? You did well to leave those blocks and tree roots alone. Would you have messed with it? Because I feel like that'd be such a massive task if you got involved with pulling a few blocks up, and I feel like it'd be such a job to hack away at those roots. You'd probably need an axe, wouldn't you, and just hack the roots. And then I've done it at my nan's house before. That had roots going under the slabs, and the slabs had all moved. And you get the main bit, you hack that away, and then as you're pulling it up, all the little roots are going everywhere, and you're pulling up like a ton of dirt with it as well, because obviously all the roots are intertwined with the dirt. As you're pulling it all up, it just sort of spreads. It's like a big carpet. I actually pulled up like a big thick carpet. It's mad. Oh, you can small screen it. That's a good idea. Android package. Sent you some pics of today's job. Customer was pretty chill as well. Had a few old Japanese cars. Oh, what sort of cars? I like old Japanese cars. I used to have a Skyline. Wait, it weren't a proper Skyline. It was a G35 Infinity. And we had an old MR2 as well, a Mark II MR2. That was Sophie's car, it was beautiful. Nasty, I don't know if I can pull this up on screen without showing everyone your phone number. Unfortunately. Well, I might be able to actually. There we go, look. Just so it's off to the side. So this was your driveway today that you were doing. Lots of black spots. These yellow bricks, the yellow clay bricks. Oh no, they're concrete, aren't they? They always get so black spotty. I suppose it's because they're so pale in colour. It stands out a lot more. Ooh, good job. That's nice and consistent. It's nice when like there's no weird areas of like sinking blocks or damage or anything, and you just got like a nice consistent. What are you doing here? Is this you that's doing something with these steps? What's that? Is it Leyland or something? Looks like someone's been mixing some cement on the steps. But the pressure washing work, beautiful. Is this just like concrete around the outside? Damn it. I'm sorry, I showed your phone number. I'm so sorry. Didn't mean to. I tried. Evening, Stephen. Evening, Russ. Great channel. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're right to leave them be. Yeah, it's always tempting to go like above and beyond. Yeah, I always find that there's a fine line between pressure washing services sort of merging into like gardening or landscaping, because I feel like they do sort of go hand in hand. People will ask you to do stuff that isn't really part of a pressure washer's role, if you know what I mean. And it's, for me, I learned the hard way, and I was getting so invested in doing like landscaping work when I had no business doing landscaping work. I did all sorts. I pulled up a whole garden, grass, and fitted artificial grass. Never done it before. I explained to the customer I've never done this before, but I can give it a go for you, because they asked me for a quote to clean the driveway, and then at the same time they're looking for someone to fit artificial grass. And like I'm a pretty handy person. I can you know, I'll do a lot of research, I'll watch a load of videos and make sure I'm doing it right. I had no business doing that. I was cementing like curb blocks all the way around the shape of the garden. I filled a skip full of turf, full of their old grass. There was basically just moss and grass and weeds and stuff. And I redid it all. It looked really good actually. But that's not my job. That's not what I do. I've laid patios before. No experience as a landscaper. I've just started sort of giving it a go, and I realised like that side of things was so stressful. Waiting on materials and the upfront cost of getting everything ordered and delivered and making sure stuff was there on time, and having like a nice day to be able to actually do the work and stuff. And then dealing with cement and it all getting in the van, and heavy equipment like tools and stuff that I'd have to carry around in the van or in the roof box. It was just like, stay in your lane. I feel like this was the advice I was giving myself. Stay in your lane, do pressure washing and do gutters. Stop trying to do everything. And quite early on I thought like, I'm not gonna do window cleaning, I'm not gonna do landscaping, I'm not gonna do hedge trimming. I'm just going to do pressure washing and gutter cleaning, and we'll see how we get on with it. And I want to get really good at those two things. I feel like if you start being like what do they call it? A jack of all trades, master of none. I feel like it can get very convoluted and stressful when you start acquiring all this different equipment and tools and stuff, and you only end up using it like a few times a year. And I feel like if you've got a team of people, it's a little bit easier to get away with that sort of stuff. But when it's just one person, when it's just you, I think maybe stick to one thing. I don't know. Hey, Tom, you're right, mate. Welcome to the stream. I used to work with Tom. He's recently started his pressure washing and gutter cleaning business. And you do a bit of gardening and like grounds maintenance and stuff, don't you? Yes, Mitchell, the G35 was a Nissan 350Z with like a different body on it, essentially, in a different interior. It was Japanese import as well, so it still had all like, you open the door and it had all the Japanese voices talking to you. When you get low on fuel, it tells you that you're low on fuel in Japanese. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but I can see all the warning lights. That was still wet. It dried much lighter. Yeah. To be honest, I prefer taking my after pictures while it's wet, because I feel like the colours are so much more impressive. I feel like the pictures look better. And if you're waiting for the whole surface to dry, you might be waiting a long time before you can take the picture. So if you just wet everything down before you finish and then take the picture straight away, you don't have to sort of hang around and wait for the whole area to dry, because else, if part of it's dry and part of it's wet, it looks patchy. It doesn't look as impressive on the photos, in my opinion. Stephen, Russ, how you doing, guys? Spencer, so you really not got any work then? I'm flat out. I got customers waiting 4 weeks, waiting so far. I've told them I don't mind going elsewhere, but they won't. Do you work in Wales? I have worked in Wales. I'm not really travelling too far outside of the West Midlands at the minute. Spencer, I don't advertise, and I think that's part of the reason that I'm quiet at the minute. Up until 3 weeks ago, I had 3 weeks worth of work booked in, and things have been going great. And then all of a sudden, I think at a similar time to everyone else, when the weather's bad, everyone else seems to have taken a little bit of a hit. Some people who have been in the industry for years and years, they're always flat out. They've always got like a waiting list. But for like a new business like mine, when your name's not really out there, like I'm not paying for any advertising at the minute, so I feel like if I wanted to, I could push some adverts, do some more work on social media and stuff, get some leaflets out there. But to be honest, I haven't felt the need up until now. I was just talking to Sophie about it this evening, and I've also not been putting out my short videos either. Like before, up until these last few weeks, I was putting out a short at least once a week, and that brought a lot of work in. Like I was putting it on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and I think that was what generated a lot of work, to be fair. And I've just not been doing it, because I feel like I've talked about, with the short videos and stuff, the ones that I found that do the best are always the ones that I like narrate. I do like a voiceover. I feel like when you're pressure washing, when you're doing like one job, there's only so much you can really talk about. So I need to get the creative juices flowing and just start coming up with some content ideas, because I'm slacking a bit at the minute. My head's been all over the place. Yeah, nasty, totally agree. Tom, how's work for you? Have you got much coming in? Master, you do a bit of everything and it's a bit of a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, if you can manage it, if it's manageable. The concrete steps were black and turned out mint. Also, the wall on the top left hand had a lot of black spots and algae. That cleaned up great. Don't worry about the number, it's fine. It's my work number. Okay, sorry about that. Garage full of tools. Yeah, I can imagine. And when people start getting into like roof cleaning and stuff, then you need, if you want to do it properly, you need your own tower really. And then you might need a foot pedal, and then you might need a big 50-foot carbon pole, and then a Mossmatic, and maybe a second pressure washer, a bigger tank, the list, bigger van, the list. When you move into like different areas of offering new services, the list of additional equipment every time you offer a new service, it might seem like just a little bit at first, like gutter cleaning. It might seem like I just need 1 or 2 items, but then you need the chemicals, and then you also need the knowledge of how to do that job correctly. I feel like that window cleaning, I use window cleaning as an example. I feel like that is a skill. It's a skill set. And so if you go into it thinking, I just need a squeegee and a bucket and I'm sweet and I can start offering window cleaning, that's not the case. You need to understand how to leave a streak-free finish, and you might need to look into sourcing pure water, or sourcing like the correct window cleaning chemicals that are gonna, it's gonna soap up well. And then you need to figure out a pricing structure for it all. And then there's first cleans. People want their windows cleaned, but they haven't had them done for 2 years, and you need to do like an initial first clean on it. And there's all this information that you've never had to deal with before, and you think, I'll start offering window cleaning now, and it's not as simple as that at all. I was thinking when I first started my business, I was going to do like, I'll do window cleaning, no, I'll do pressure washing, and then the rest of the time I'll fill it up with washing cars, because I feel like that goes hand in hand. I can wash cars and I can wash driveways and patios, and like, not a bad idea really. If you enjoy washing cars and if you enjoy working on vehicles and stuff. But then there's like, well, if you're going to offer car washing, then you also people want the insides of their cars cleaned as well. Am I going to offer that? Well, no, I don't really want to offer that. But then you sort of got to offer that to compete with all the other car detailers and stuff. And then do you get into detailing, like polishing cars? And then there's all those chemicals and techniques. It can get a bit much, really. It really can. Me and my mates are old school Honda fans. Nice. My mum's got a Honda FRV, and it's such a mum-mobile, but I think it's got potential. Does anyone else like these? This is the exact colour she's got. It's a VTEC. But if you consider that car, you know, tinted windows. Oh, I don't want to look at this. Tinted windows, lowered slightly, nice wheels. That could be like a nice family wagon, couldn't it? I think they've got lots of potential. Maybe not in the colour that she's got. Maybe grey or something. Let's catch up with some of these comments. Sorry guys. Sorry. Send more once the resanding treatment is done. Nasty, how are you getting on with your resanding? I don't know if you watched my latest video, but I'm having issues with sand at the minute. I need to choose a lane. I'm gardening, handyman, power washing, and very soon gutter cleaning. I suppose you just need to pick the ones that complement each other. The ones where, you know, where you finish the job and the customer says, "Oh, great job. Do you know anyone that can do this?" And it's normally, for me, it's normally gutters. Do you know anyone that can do the gutters? Do you know anyone that does roof cleaning? Do you know anyone that will cut the trees down in the back garden or something? You right, girlie?
Look at my hair.
Oh, is it very smooth?
Yeah, feel wet.
Ooh.
Smell it, Daddy.
Can I smell? Do you want to come and say hi to everyone?
Yeah.
Hoi! Say hi, everyone. In here, look. Say hi.
Hi.
Oh, not too loud.
I was going to get a milk. Go. Hi.
Okay. Oh, your hair smells beautiful.
Let me smell it.
Do you have a nice bath?
Yeah,
You had your bath bomb today, didn't you, that you had for your birthday?
I know.
I know. Your bath went orange.
Look.
Yeah, that's Daddy's van, isn't it?
Look.
Sorry guys, I will catch up with your messages, bear with. Let's stick this one in the background for now. Maya, who is... Look. Look. Ready? Who's that?
I can.
Callum, well done. Gardens, pressure washing, and now I'm on the gutters. I think gutters is always a really good solution for a quiet winter. I think gutter cleaning, and even like now, I'm still doing gutter cleaning like in the middle of summer, or what's supposed to be summer anyway. It's like an all year round thing. Customer had a white Honda Civic Type R, nice, 2005, and he had a step wagon.
Hello.
Step wagon. Step wagon. Is it a Honda step wagon? I have seen these. They're like a little minibus. Yeah, I do like these. I like them in black. There's a few different types. That's the type I like. The smoother looking one. I'm not keen on all the chrome and stuff.
I'll try to look in there.
You're trying to look in there?
Yeah.
You got to look in here. Is that warm enough?
A lot of it's from customers who want multiple jobs doing.
It's not
I want to choose a lane, but I'm just saying yes. Yeah, I mean, if you want the work and if you want to just get the experience, you might as well just say yes and just give it a go. As long as you're open and honest with the customer, and if they say like, "Can you do this for me?" If they say, "Can you do this for me?" It's very. It's a very good thing to just say, "Look, I'd like to do it for you. I've never done it, but I would like to give it a go. If as long as you know I've never done it before, and you're happy to pay me on the basis that you know I've never done it." I think that's a really good thing. Like, I did that a lot when I was first starting out. People would ask me to do odd little jobs here and there. And it's a good way because you're not giving the customer like false pretenses before you start the job. Some people just say yes to stuff and they pretend. Hang on, girlie. They pretend that they're like a professional in all areas, and then it comes back to bite them because they make a slight mistake or something and things go wrong, and then the customer's like, "Hang on, I thought you said you did this before." It's good to be honest. Learning every day, yes. Could you answer me 3 questions? I saw that you use a gardener backpack for applying chemicals, hypo and biocide. The question is, doesn't the backpack pump break? It probably will eventually. Mine has been going strong for I think over a year now, because I rinse it out thoroughly after every use. So once I've used it, I've filled it with hypo, I fill it with fresh water afterwards, tip it out, fill it again with fresh water, and then I'll turn it on and rinse it through my brush to make sure all the lines are clear of hypo. And I have noticed the little filter at the bottom looks a little bit rusty. Not crazy, just it's like a stainless steel filter. That does have a little bit of rust on it, but nothing major. I am expecting the pump to fail eventually. But it's been great for like over a year, and I've been using it with hypo and biocide for over a year, and I think for 120 quid, with how versatile it is, if I have to buy one every month, I think that's still worth the money. You know what I mean? I'm gonna wash your car with the gardener backpack tomorrow.
Yeah.
And my water-fed brush with my gutter brush on. I think that because it's like a flocked brush, so it won't scratch anything.
And do my new one as well.
You're pushing it there. My van needs a wash, actually.
You could do all 3.
Nah.
May I say yeah?
Thank you in advance.
Yeah.
I intend. What else did you ask? Oh, by the way, you can also. I think there's a couple of videos online of how to change the pump in the gardener backpack to one that's got a chemical pump in it. You can like take the old pump out and put a chemical appropriate pump in, or I think you can add Viton seals to the pump or something. I can't really remember, but there's a video out there somewhere. I remember seeing it. What biocide do you use, and why is it different from hypo? Have you ever cleaned decorative facades? We don't have houses built of bricks like you have in the UK. How'd you say that word, Soph? Facades.
I don't know.
I'm guessing you mean like cladding. So hypo takes longer for you to see results, but it's a much more gentle process. Whereas, did I say hypo or biocide then?
Wasn't listening.
Biocide takes a lot longer for you to see results. You apply it, it activates every time it rains, and it kills the reproductive cycle of algae and moss and stuff. Whereas sodium hypochlorite will bleach organic staining, and it will sort of dissolve it instantly. But it's very, very harsh. But the reaction only lasts for like an hour, and once it's been rinsed off after an hour, it's totally dormant then, and I believe it just turns into salt. But once biocide's applied, It can last over 12 months. It can last up to like 2 to 3 years, I think, depending on the dilution and the weather and stuff. But say you're doing a roof clean, or you're just scraping moss off a roof. To prevent that moss from regrowing, that's where you'll put the biocide on. If you were to use hypo instead, it would initially bleach and probably kill some of the roots of the moss, but within a week it has the potential to start growing back again, whereas biocide won't allow it to do that. It almost creates like a biofilm over the tiles. It's really good for wood as well. If you want to do like a more gentle approach with decking or fencing. Am I talking too much? Am I talking too much for you?
Yeah.
Sorry. That's my wine, girl. You can't have that. You can have some of my juice if you want.
She's just had some. Can say goodnight now.
Love you. Can I have a kiss?
Oh, give me a kiss.
Oh, Pete.
No, it's not playtime. It's bedtime, so say goodnight. There you
I'll have to take these trousers off in a minute. I'm going to get sweaty, I think. Love you. Good night.
Good night.
This room gets so hot because of the laptop, all the fans. What was I saying? So, if you were to, for example, with decking or fencing, if you were to apply sodium hypochlorite with like a strong ratio, you'd end up bleaching the wood and damaging it. And it's okay if you're going to like paint it, if the customer just wants it cleaning before painting or something. But if you don't want to cause damage to the wood, the better approach would be to apply biocide, and it's like a more gentle cleanse. And it'll keep cleaning it, it'll keep it clean, and it'll keep cleaning it every time it rains. But for patios, for things like Indian sandstone and stuff, you want to get that instant, you want to get rid of the black spots instantly. That's where you'd use hypo. But you could offer like a maintenance plan where you come back and apply biocide to, you can do it to most ground surfaces, and it'll stop stuff growing on it. So rather than having to come back and pressure wash every year, you can just pressure wash once, chemical treatment, and then apply biocide every 8 to 12 months or something. Hope that answers your question. I'm sorry if that's confusing. A little bit distracted over here. I don't know if you've noticed. I intend to start a business in this matter, and you inspire me and give me lots of information. Greetings from Romania. That's really kind of you to say. I'm glad you're finding value in what I'm saying. EP3 Type R in white, Japanese import, very cool. Nice. Limited slip diff. I like those, I like the Civic Jordans. There's a Jordan in our town. I see it every so often, and it's just like smart, it's well looked after, nice bright yellow paint, little Jordan writing on the side, and it just looks, I feel like that's a future classic, and it's only ever gonna go up in value. I think that's gonna be like the GTR, like a Nissan GTR or a S15 or something. They're just going to go crazy money at some point. I'm sure they probably already are, to be fair. Listen, Spencer says, listen, start window cleaning as your main job. It's monthly and regular work. You get first pick at everything like gutters, pressure washing, and if gardening is your thing, you get that too. Trust me. Spencer, you make a solid point. You build up a rapport with your window cleaning customers, and they come to you for external cleaning work. That makes a lot of sense. I just don't feel like I've got time to offer a window cleaning round at the moment. I mean, I definitely have now, but at the height of pressure washing season, I'm not sure I've got time for that sort of thing. How do you manage that, Spencer? You mentioned both were Japanese imports. Pretty impressed they were in very good condition. Nice. I've dropped 1,000 leaflets and picked up one job off them. My leaflets have dedicated space to write the price for the drive, so they know the price before contacting me. So you quote every single drive and then post it through the door. That is a really, really good practice to get into. To be able to quote quickly like that, to be able to walk up to a drive as you're writing the quote out and just maybe measure up with your eyes, look at the drainage. I suppose you've got to assume that they've got good water pressure and all that sort of stuff, but get a rough price in mind. And if you're doing 1,000 of those, you're going to get really, really good at quote. Either you're going to do lots of bad quotes, which is probably the case initially, but you're very quickly going to get really good at quoting stuff. So that's probably a very, very good practice actually. I mean, the fact that you've only got one job from them, it feels like 1,000 leaflets. All that time walking around posting those leaflets to only convert one of them. I don't know if that sort of thing's for me. I've used your quoting tool 0.2 twice now and it's fantastic. Thanks for sharing. No worries, Conrad. I'm glad you found it useful. For those of you who don't know what Conrad is talking about, I've created this quoting tool, and if you're new to pressure washing, or if you just want to do a quick and dirty quote and you want to account for your materials costs, or if you want to check how much it's going to cost to seal stuff, like I'm always, when I'm looking at sealer, I made this for myself. When I'm looking at sealer, I'm always trying to work out, okay, so it says it covers 5 square meters per litre, and I'm doing 65 square meters, and it costs that much. So how much? So, and I need 2 coats, and that's just the materials, that's not including labour. And it's like, okay, but this works everything out for you. It tells you how many litres of sealer you need, tells you the cost, the amount of money you're spending on the sealer, adds up your labour, and it spits out this big old price at the bottom. And it also, the thing that I wanted to do, so that you don't have to keep referring to this tool every time, if you do a job, say I'm pricing this one up, I'm sealing 65 square meters. I've accounted for all my costs. These are just random figures at the minute, but I've accounted for everything. I've got down here, look, my price per square meter. I think that's actually rounded to the nearest decimal place, so that's not totally accurate. I do need to change that. But say it's like £6.20 per square meter, it'll round it down to £6 per square meter. But now in future, I know that a similar job like that, as long as I've got the square meterage, say it's going to be like 75 square meters, I can just do, okay, 75 times 6, and now I've accounted for everything without having to keep using the tool over and over again. So my plan with this is to help you guys nail down your pricing structure. So for tarmac sealing, you'll put all your details in, you find the supplier that you're going to use for your tarmac sealer, you punch all those numbers in, and then you get your price per square meter for your tarmac sealing. Same goes for cleaning block paving, same goes for like repointing. I'm going to add repointing on there as well. And also, if you're finding this useful, I've just added these 2 buttons today. I don't think it's actually gone live yet, but this button will take you to my PayPal, where you can send me a little donation if you're finding it useful. You can subscribe monthly, yearly, or you can just do a one-off payment. So if you fancy that, then I'd be very grateful. And I've also added a YouTube button that takes you straight to my channel. There is some very interesting things coming up that I'm going to be adding to this website soon. There's going to be another tab, and I'll give you a clue. The new domain that I've just bought today is called smelt.shop. I'll leave you with that. Very excited. Sorry, I'm not doing very well with all your questions, am I? I've been away for like 2 weeks. I feel like I'm feeling quite chatty tonight, which isn't like me at the moment. What's this quote tool? Tom, the link, well, it's called smelt.club. If you type into Google or type into your search bar, smelt.club. And just bear in mind, this, your base price per square meter, your base price per square meter will be different to mine, depending on your experience. If you've been in the industry 20 years, your base price per square meter might be £4, £4.50, £5. For someone who's just starting out, you might be somewhere like £2.50, £3. It depends on your equipment, depends on your chemical knowledge, depends on your experience level, depends on the service you're offering, how extensive the service is that you're offering. Adjust that based on your experience and your equipment. And then you can also add on labour for like resanding and stuff. You could change that labour to 0 and just account for everything in your base price per square meter. Or you can lower that and add yourself maybe 50p per square meter in labour. Sounds complicated, but once you get stuck in and once you've used it a couple of times, it's very, very simple. Let me know what you think of it. If anyone hasn't used it yet, have a play and let me know what you think. Spencer says, don't look too much into this pricing tool you got. With Windows, price it per window and double it up, away you go. Gutters per meter, pressure washing Google Maps per square meter, away you go. Spencer, I see what you're saying, and it is good to simplify things like that. I feel like in pressure washing in particular has so many variables, things like drainage, water pressure, where all the waste is going to go, like how you're disposing of the waste, additional like upcharges, things like walls, like how do you quote a wall tops, fence panels, you know, there's all sorts of stuff that it's not as easy to just price per square meter, because there's a lot of additionals to account for, and with the rate of materials going up and down at the minute, the cost of sand is just, it keeps creeping up. The last 12 months the cost of sand has just gone up and up and up, so if you're not constantly updating your pricing, you could end up losing out, I feel like. Just my opinion. I see your point though. I've done that just for small things like painting fence panels. Yeah, it's good to diversify. Hey Gary, you're right mate. Work slowing down for me in Portsmouth as well. Your app is brilliant. Keep up the good work. Oh, Dave, thank you. I'm glad you're finding it useful. I weren't sure if anyone was actually going to use it or not. A few people have said it's been useful for them, so that's promising. I just want to say first, I really appreciate your videos. They have been really helpful. I've started my own business. I'm not far from you in Leamington Spa. Nice. But I'm struggling to find enough work. How do you advertise? Do you do Facebook ads? I don't do Facebook ads. I used to boost a few Facebook posts and stuff. Post as many before and afters as you can. Do all your friends and families. Don't do it for free. Charge them for it, but maybe charge them at a lower rate than what you intend on charging your regular customers. Get as many before and afters as you can. Create your Facebook page. Create your Instagram. Start posting as much content as possible, as often, as consistently as possible. You can't expect the work to start rolling in just because you've started your business. Do you know what I mean? No one knows that you've started your business. You need to. Most of my work comes from word of mouth and like recurring customers, and customers saying, "Oh, my mom needs hers doing as well," or you know, Gary recommended you, or whatever. That's makes up probably 70 to 80% of my work. And so just consider that when you're sort of waiting for the phone to ring. You've got to get yourself out there and just start talking about your business and start. It's very difficult in the beginning. Some people expect, like, I've just started my business, I've got all my leaflets printed, I've put a few adverts on Facebook, I've put something in the newspaper, I've put something down the shops, I've put some business cards out and all that sort of stuff. And then you just sort of wait for the phone to ring, and it doesn't happen because no one cares. You know what I mean? It sounds brutal, but no one cares. They've got so much else, so much other stuff to focus on day to day. And it takes time. I think the first year, the first 12 months, if you can get past that first 12 months and don't give up, just stay consistent, keep doing the same thing every week. Do at least one thing. Do at least one thing every day that counts towards, improving your business. Whether it's starting a spreadsheet for your expenses, or whether it's cleaning or organising your equipment, or whether it's putting a post out on Facebook, or whether it's doing your receipts. Just do one thing every day. And it's very difficult when you've got your normal day-to-day job, your 9-to-5 job, and you've got your family and stuff. It's very difficult to stay consistent, but I promise you, you stay consistent, keep doing the same thing, word will start to spread. People will remember, so-and-so's doing this now, and it'll get to the time where they think, I need that doing. Thingy does that, and they'll get in contact because you've been consistent and you put the work in. Everything you do, take a picture of it, post it somewhere. That's my advice anyway. It's what I did. Do you ever use TFR on wood? Works a treat? ? Dave, I don't know. Is that a question or a statement? I've never used TFR on wood. I didn't know you could, to be honest. I don't even know what TFR is. Is it like a degreasing? Is it like a heavy duty degreaser? Because people seem to use it. People seem to swap it back and forward from TFR and degreasers. If anyone, tell you what, let's have a look together. Should we find out together? What is traffic film remover? A cleaning product that's designed to remove road grime without damaging the paintwork or mechanical parts of your car. So there's a difference. There's non-caustic TFR and the standard TFR. I think non-caustic reacts to like less things like lead, and I'm talking nonsense. I don't know what I'm talking about. Is it safe for cars? It should only be used every few months. Excessive use can lead to dulling of the paintwork. What chemicals are in TFR? Caustic soda, sodium hydroxide, which gives it a powerful cleaning property. The more caustic soda there is in the TFR, the stronger usually the product is. I still don't understand what it is. Only leave it on for 5 minutes. You do need to let it dwell. Is it the same as snow foam? Two different, and they should be used in different circumstances. Snow foam is generally a lot lighter and milder, not as effective at cleaning stuck on road grime. So TFR is the stuff they spray on the side of your car when you go to the when you go to get your car washed. You'll see them spraying something down the side of your car, and that's normally TFR before they start washing your car to get like the main stuff off, I guess. Chris, what I've found so far is I've only just started to Facebook, do competitions, like and share, tag 3 friends, win a free job, stuff like that. The Civic Jordan is basically a limited edition VTI. One down from a Type R, but still very sought after. Looking at 8 grand upwards for one. Jeez. Imagine if we knew. I always think of this, like the cars I've had. Just like that Mark II MR2. I'm just thinking, like, if we knew how much they were going to go up in price, we'd have obviously kept hold of it. It was a gorgeous car. It had like a real nice body kit. It had like beautiful, beautiful white respray. Nice bucket seats in it. I just think, oh, if we'd have kept that, we'd have just kept it, not put any miles on it, just sort of dry stored it somewhere. Keep it a few more years and worth a fortune, aren't they, some of them? Not had any for 2 weeks, mate. Not had any work for 2 weeks. That sucks. Are you Skyrider? What are you doing? Because that's always like, are you sort of waiting for the phone to ring, or are you being proactive? Is what I'm asking. Hey, Charlie, you right, mate? How you doing? We've missed you in the Discord, Charlie. I have anyway. I find your quoting tool very useful. Can you add stuff for gutter clearing too if you do a version 3? Jay, how would you implement a gutter clearing pricing structure? I'm interested to know how you do that. It's okay, mate. There's a few things you can do to help to get people interested. Evening, Dave. Squeaky clean Dave's in the building. Dave, I saw your ambulance, man. I haven't watched the whole video yet, but it's so cool. See you, Tom. Have a good night, mate. If you guys haven't seen already, go and have a look at Squeaky Clean Dave's new video. He's just bought himself a bloody ambulance for his cleaning work, for his pressure washing work. Is it just for pressure washing, or is it for all the? Are you going to fit all of your equipment in that van for all of your services? Rubicon is what you want to use. Rubicon. Sodium hydroxide is drain cleaner. I just used a load of drain cleaner in our house this evening. You know, in the drains, you're cleaning your teeth and the water level sort of starts rising, and then it eventually drains away. Something's going on. ASD, you're right, mate. Regarding sanding, do you use about 1 bag of sand per 10 meters squared on normal block paving? It varies. I've used between 10 and 20. Last week, a couple of weeks ago, I actually used 1 bag for 25 meters squared, which was very impressive. And I don't think that's like a normal thing. It's not a regular occurrence. In the quoting tool, at some point, I'll add something that lets you maybe type in the average joint size, so it'll figure out pretty much exactly how much you need. TFR is what the car wash just put on first. It softens the muck and grime. Yeah. Saw a Capri for sale on eBay for about 40 grand. Jeez. Hey Sam, you're right, mate. Been a few weeks since I've watched the live, but glad to see you're staying consistent with them. You also inspire me to start, and I'm in Sutton Coldfield, not far. Nice. Thanks for watching, Sam. I didn't do a live stream last week. We had some issues last week. Thanks, Sam. All exterior cleaning. Dave, price is gutter cleaning by the meter. I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, didn't we? So story time. Sophie's new car. See if I can find a picture of it. Do. Here it is. How do you zoom out? Sophie's new car. You see this Tesco's car park? So last Sunday I borrowed Sophie's brand new car. Not brand new, new to us. To take 4 of us lads up to a stag do in Edinburgh on the Friday. And it was great. Absolutely perfect. And then we drove home. We went to drive home on the Sunday, about midday on the Sunday. And it's about a 5.5 hour drive. And we got about an hour and a half in. And the car started, like, it went into limp mode. All the lights came on, all the warning lights came on. And we had to pull over on the M6. I think it was the M6. Because I couldn't go more than like 20 mile an hour. And I had four of the lads in the car, and I was like, no, don't do this to me. We're still like 3.5 hours away from home. And so we managed to, it did it twice. I thought it cleared it, but it didn't. Did it again. We had to like go down the hard shoulder to the next exit. And we pulled into this Tesco car park. Waited like an hour and a half for the AA man to come. And he diagnosed fuel injector on cylinder 4 was bust. Can't repair it on the side of the road. If you want to upgrade, you haven't got recovery. So if you want to upgrade now, it's going to be 150 quid. The first 15 miles are free, but then it's £4 per mile after that to get you home. And I was like 250 odd miles away from home, something like that. So that was going to be insane. So I was like, okay, I can't do that. The only saving grace was behind this Tesco car park. There was a garage, but it was a Sunday, so there's no one there. So 5 of us lads. This was in Carnforth, near Lancaster. And 5 of us lads had to get 3 separate trains, or 3 different trains. And I'm useless with trains, like I'm so glad I had them there. And they were so supportive and lovely. I had to get 3 trains home. 12-hour trip, it didn't get home till midnight. And it was just a nightmare. And Soph was upset because we had to abandon her car. And then I was on the phone to the garage like 3 times the next day saying, I'd really appreciate if you can fit me in like Tuesday. If I can get you the keys, can you do the work on Tuesday? And they was like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll get a price to you. And I called them over and over and over again. I said, have you got that price yet? Have you got that price yet? No, sorry mate, I've been a bit busy, I'll get you the price. And then it got to the end of the day, the end of Monday, and they still hadn't got back to me. I was like, oh, okay, so we're not going to go up on Tuesday now, that's a whole day wasted. And Tuesdays are my day off, so it would have been perfect. And then we got up Tuesday morning, and Soph said, I need to know whether I'm going to work today or not, or whether we're going up to get the car. And so she phoned the garage and said, can you get us a price please? And he said, oh sorry, I was supposed to do that yesterday, wasn't I? And she went, yeah, like we're literally waiting to leave now. If you can give us a price, we're going to leave, we're going to get in the car right now and we're going to drive up to you, 3 hours, and I'm going to take the day off work. And he finally rang back with the price, 570 quid. So the part alone, this little stupid little fuel injector was like 250 quid or something stupid like that. Plus labour, plus a couple of gaskets and stuff. It was just like, oh, such a kick in the teeth after we'd just spent £6 grand on this car. And so we had to spend the fuel to get back up there, the train tickets, you know, for the Sunday. Got there at like 11, started work on the car, and he said, oh, it's going to be 3 or 4 hours. It's like, okay, fine. They're really busy, whatever. And then it took them till 5:30 in the afternoon to complete the job. And then we picked up the car at 5:30. We had to fill the day with like, we went to the farm, we went to the beach, it was right next to the coast. And then 5:30, picked up the car, and then it's like a 3-hour drive home. It's like, oh. So I had such a long day on the Sunday, and then going to pick up the car again, another really long day on the Tuesday, and then the Tuesday night, well, early Wednesday morning, my mum called me at 2 o'clock in the morning to say, oh, Granddad's died. So there was that. So I didn't have any sleep then either. And then while I was away, the washing machine broke. So we had to get a new washing machine, which we still don't have. And that's like 300 quid, 350 quid. It's just been like one thing after another. Absolute terrible. The worst couple of weeks we've had for a long time. It's just crap. Absolutely crap. So that's why I didn't put out a video last week, and that's why I didn't go live last week. I stayed at my nan's last night with her just to keep her company a little bit while I was doing a bit of video editing last night and stuff. So slowly getting back on track, and now I just need like the work to start coming back in. I've had some. I said in the video earlier, I said like I'm having quite a few callbacks from customers recently, having to go back and brush more sand back into the driveways because the weather's just been terrible. Been kicking all the sand out the drives. Like there's nothing else I can do. If we have really, really heavy downpour, there's nothing wrong with my technique or the way I'm applying the sand. You can't really do it wrong. But I don't want them to think they've had like a poor service, so I'm going back to sort of do it again because I don't want unhappy customers, and it's obviously a lot of time out of my days, and you know. Dream Car Garage, Toyota Supra, Shelby GT500, Audi Quattro, and finally a Lancia Delta. How do you think it's going to take to finish the ambulance? Took the ambulance to North Devon Saturday, 3 hours each way. It went like a dream. Nice. It's going to take a few weeks. Loads of stuff to do on it. Hi Jake, I'm looking to start up a jetting business. Looking for some advice on what I need to buy a machine and tool on a budget. Thanks, great videos. If you're on a budget, if you're really on a budget, have a look at Equip to Clean. They've got some they've got all sorts of stuff, and it's a lot cheaper than sort of the industry standard, but just consider, you know, there is a reason why it's cheaper. Some of the, well, they're Chinese machines. That's all you have to know, really. But this was my first machine, my first proper machine anyway, this one here, and that lasted me like 12 months before I felt like I needed to upgrade. I did have a few issues with it and stuff. I've been very open and honest about the issues I've had. I still think I'd recommend it if you're on a budget. You know, it's about $1,000 cheaper than the equivalent from like a reputable UK based supplier, and it's a decent amount of money for someone who's just starting out. So you might want to You might want to have a look on this website, Equip to Clean. Good luck with it. Shout out, please. I've never seen your name in the channel. Is that what you do? You go around live streams asking for someone to say your name? That's a bit weird, mate, that is. Oh, all good, guys. Like, I'm not I didn't even know whether I wanted to talk about it or not. Like, I'm not trying to get sympathy or anything. I'm just explaining. I've had a crappy couple of weeks, that's all. Thanks, Ross. Thanks, Nasty. I haven't checked your quote tool yet, but does it include anything for moving furniture, flower pots, planters, etc.? Here in Spain, 95% of my customers are retired. I don't presently charge for it. It doesn't. That's a really good point, though. And I would always be charging. If it's more than like 3 or 4, maybe 1 or 2. If it's more than that, you know, it's pretty back-breaking work, moving pots and planters and garden furniture, and especially if the customer's like particularly picky and they want to make sure it all goes back in the same place. It's a job in itself. Before you've even started the day, before you've even picked up your lance, your back's already hurting from moving stuff, and so you must definitely account for that in the price. 100%. But I'm not sure how you'd calculate that. Would you price per pot? That could get a bit finicky, couldn't it? I normally just say, like, if it's more than 1 or 2, I'm going to charge you about 15 quid. I normally just guesstimate on the day. When I go over to quote, if I'm quoting in person, I'll say you can either move the pots and furniture and stuff, or you can get someone to help you with it, or I can do it and I'll charge you about 15 quid for it. And just explain, like, it is more work than you think. Most of them will either do it themselves or they'll get their son round or something to help them with it. Would it be worth using a pricing structure that states a standard pressure wash doesn't include resanding, but also an option to add on resanding with polymetric? I was considering creating a tool like this for my customers that doesn't necessarily go into like the pricing specifics and the quantities and stuff, but they type in their square meterage and then it spits out a price for them, and they can add on whether they want it resanding, they can add on whether they want it resealing. It's essentially the same tool but aimed towards the customer, not aimed towards the worker, if you know what I mean. So yeah, good idea, PJ. Sorry, I mean full stack. What do you guys think of polymetric sand? I got a call from Pure Seal earlier to say that one of their suppliers is Easy Joint. Have you guys seen the Easy Joint? Which is like, it's like the Sika, the Sika. Like the jointing compound. Pure Seal sell it. Joint it simple. Oh, I thought it was Easy Joint. My bad. I'm sure he said Easy Joint. I can't remember. Chris called me earlier and wait, Joint It. Oh, jointit.com. If you haven't seen this before, they've got like a really good calculator on their website to let you know how much you need. You do it. It measures the gaps. You tell it how wide the gaps are and stuff, and it'll work out how many tubs you need, which is really good. But they've got a new product coming out. Oh look, Joint It Fine. That might be it, Joint It Fine, that Chris was talking about. Yeah, look this. It's essentially, I think, polymetric paving sand, weed free, sets hard. Yeah, weed free, look. Fine block paving sand. You brush it in dry, and then you do like a dusting of water over the top, and then it sets. And Chris said something about it being self-repairing. If it cracks or whatever, it repairs itself and resets, which sounds insane. And I've got a feeling it's going to be pretty expensive, but this for me could replace sealing. You know what I mean? The customers want their driveway sealed. Not all sealing, like it's not going to replace tarmac sealing, it's not going to replace natural stone sealing, but this for me could replace block paving sealing, because if you can brush this in, the only reason generally people want their block paving sealed is to solidify the sand between the joints. And if you can do it with this instead, which is much easier in my opinion, or potentially much easier to apply than sealer. It looks like good stuff, doesn't it? This could be the answer to all my issues. Vibrating plate. I suppose you'd only use the vibrating plate when it's freshly laid block paving. It looks very fine, doesn't it? 45-degree angle. Good advice. So I don't think you'd do this for pressure washed block paving. I think you'd only do this for new block paving. And then you wet it down. Look, it foams. Wash off, remove all excess from the top. Depending on the water pressure, you may need a small electric power washer. I was reading some reviews on some polymetric sand the other day, and they said it kind of foams up, which is weird. Oh, that looks like it's just washing the excess off the top. Self-repairing, eco-friendly, weed-resistant. So this could be the next thing, couldn't it? I don't know how long this stuff's been around, but I think Pure Seal are about to start supplying it. I wonder if they already do. I wonder. No, it doesn't look like it. They do this stuff. I mean, this stuff's good value for money. You get, compared to the sicker stuff, you get much more in the tub. And I think it actually works out cheaper. I'm quite interested to try the brushing jointing compound for block paving. That could change the game, that could. I always take photos before I move anything to make sure it goes back right. That's a good tip, Dave. So pots and furniture and stuff, always take photos before you move it. Maybe easier to manage than return visits. Maybe easier to manage the return visits better. With that jointing stuff, you'll still need to wait for a dry day, won't you? Because it needs to be dry going in initially. Excess labour charge for moving pots. Yep. You could just add 20 or 30 quid wherever you live. Yep. Sorry to hear this news, Jake. Hope you and your family are dealing with it okay. We're doing good. We're doing as good as can be expected. My mum's absolutely taken charge of planning things, organising. We've got the funeral coming up. She's the women in our family are so strong and supportive, and yeah. Toys with Hunter says, hi Smelt, first live I've been in of yours, watched all of your videos and previous lives. The amount of information is so greatly appreciated. Was wondering how you work around kids and partner. Gary. Thanks for watching, Gary. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the videos and stuff. That's really cool. Thank you. Finding the time around kids and partner. It's a good question. It's difficult. Sophie has to keep reminding me to, like, you know, it's the evening now. Turn your phone off. Stop looking at Discord. Stop. If someone asks you for a quote, you know, it can wait till the morning. You don't have to respond to people within 5 minutes every time, especially when it's like 9-10 o'clock at night. It's difficult when you're trying to run a new business and do all the YouTube and the social media stuff on top of that. Like, it is, I feel like I'm doing about three different people's jobs at the minute. And I think the hardest bit was trying to balance my regular day job with the pressure washing. You know, when I'm like first starting out and I'm trying to do it on the side, I think that was probably the hardest bit, trying to fit everything in. Like, you're working a 9-to-5 job and you've got kids and you've got a partner and you've got a dog and a cat, and then also evenings or weekends you're trying to get this other business off the ground. It's really tough. It's really difficult. And you've got, I guess you've just got to make sacrifices, and you've got to let people around you know these next few months are going to be really busy for me. If I can just get through these next few months, you know, things are going to start changing for us for the better. And the whole reason I went on this journey is to one day be financially independent and one day have more time than I had before to spend with my family. And I have done, like, since I left my job and since I started doing pressure washing, I've been well in control of my own schedule, my own calendar, my own time. I choose my own downtime. I choose my own days off. If stuff comes up, you know, I've never cancelled work unless it's for weather and stuff. But if I know for a fact that if something come up and it's important to me, I can just move my customers around, and I don't need to ask my boss whether I'm allowed to take the day off or whether I'm allowed to finish early in the afternoon and stuff. To be honest, most days I'm done by like 2 o'clock with the physical stuff. I could book more in every day if I wanted to. I could book, you know, 3 or 4 jobs in most days and be flat out from 8 till 6, but that's not the reason I started doing this. The reason I started doing it was to have more time on my hands and more freedom. And as long as the money's coming in, as long as the money's good enough, you know, I'm not being greedy. I'm not trying to fit in as much as I can possibly fit in every day. I'd rather be comfortable than be knackered all the time. And so most days now, I'm not turning the machine on till 9 o'clock, just for like noise reasons, because it's quite loud. And then I'm generally home by like 2ish, hop in the shower, and then I work till about 5 o'clock, just doing admin stuff, sending invoices and uploading to Facebook, replying to quotes, all that sort of stuff. So I'm busy. I'm always doing something. And my mind, the difficult thing is you're always switched on when you're running your own business. That's the difference between working for someone else and working for yourself. You never switch off, or it's very, very difficult to switch off. To just be able to come home at the end of the day, not look at your phone and not worry about stuff. Not be constantly thinking, okay, what's next week? What's the week after? Do I need to order some materials? Have I got fuel in the van? Have I got this and this? Like, it is pretty constant. I wouldn't give it up for anything though. It's the best decision I ever made. And I'm not good at organising stuff. Like I'm the worst. When it comes to planning things and dates and times and just general organisation, I'm terrible at it all, or I used to be, and I feel like those skills are slowly getting better and better since I started working for myself. Joint it sounds well worth it if it works well. That jointing sand is £41 a bag. Ross, jeez, £41. Is that a 20 kilo bag? Oh no, I need to sneeze. £41 compared to £6.90 for regular sand. Is that worth it? I mean, you can say to the customer, look, now you don't need it sealing, so you're saving the cost of sealer. And you could still seal it if you want to protect it from weather and oil and make it look shiny or whatever. And you could also do the jointing compound as well, but £41. Let's put it into the tool and see what that comes out as. For like a regular, say a standard driveway is about 60 square meters, for example. What's going on? 60 square meters. Base price at £3 per square meter. And let's do resanding, and the cost of sand, instead of £6.90, we're going to go with £41. And the labour, we're probably going to want to do a bit more labour because we're not only brushing the sand in, but we've actually got to wet the area and rinse the top layer of the sand off as well. So let's take that up to £1 instead of 50p per square metre. So the cost of sand is coming out at about £164. That's based on 15 metres squared per bag. To be fair, for a driveway of that size, you'd probably be spending around about this on sealer, materials wise. Let's see actually. Total cost of sealer 86, 2 coats. Cost of sealer per litre, let's get some. I'm just intrigued, guys, bear with me just a second. Let's have a look at an average pure seal. Let's go acrylic seal, because I haven't used this one yet. So £35 for 5 litres. Is that £6? 35 divided by 5, £7, sorry. £7 per litre. Wow, look at that. So 2 coats of that, £7 per litre. That comes out at £168, so almost the same as this polymetric sand. If you were to sand and seal, it's going to be £168 plus the cost of the sand. If you were to just use the polymetric sand, you're getting rid of that price altogether and you're just charging for the sand. And you can almost can you guarantee to the customer that they're not going to get weeds poking up from underneath that sand? Can you make that promise? Because the website looks very confident, where they're saying here, weed resistant Weed free. Does that mean that you can say to the customer they're not going to get any weeds? They might get fresh seeds landing on the top and sprouting, but they'll be very easy to pull away. But providing you're pressure washed, maybe they're saying it's weed free in new block paving that's just been laid, not necessarily that's just been pressure washed. Old block paving that's been pressure washed, because that's a pretty significant difference. Which means no weeds can plant and flourish. Could you offer your customers a guarantee? This would solve all of the issues that I've had recently with sand washing out of joints, weeds coming back through, problems with sealing. It's literally an all-in-one solution, but it costs a lot of money. That could be worth it for the customer. I could literally just send them a link to this page and say read it and let me know what you think. I'll send them regular kiln dried sand and then this kiln dried and this sand. Some kids are screaming outside. That could be the way forward. Sweep sand into clean dry joints. Sweep off excess sand from the top. Compact sand into joints using whacker plate. That's the confusing bit, because I'm not going to rent a whacker plate every time I need to resand a driveway. So hopefully this step is only for new driveways. Top up area with more sand to ensure joints are completely filled. Wet it with a light fine spray. Wait 5 or 10 minutes. Wash off, remove all excess product from the top of the bricks. Depending on the house water pressure, you might need a small electric pressure washer. Interesting. Go back and read the important note at the bottom. Important note: joint it fine is best applied on newly laid driveway. Charlie, you're so clever. Where there has been no previous weed growth. If applying on existing driveway, you will need to use a high power pressure washer to clean out all the joints to ensure there are no weeds. After this, spray all the joints to ensure no weed plants are left. Then you can apply the joint it. It won't stop. Is a preventative product, but it won't stop weeds growing that have already planted in the joints before application. I'm glad they've put that there, because that's very honest of them. That answers my question then. You can't offer a guarantee. Did you have a gradual increase in the amount of customers you were getting, or was it as soon as you started doing something specific? It was a very gradual increase. Funky gang. Very gradual increase. And obviously when the season kicks off, that's when you'll get most of your inquiries. Between February and like the end of March is when people started really getting in touch. This was last year, February and March last year, for me personally. Is it waterproof / water resistant? Do you mean the joint tip? I'm assuming it's breathable. I don't think it's gonna allow the area to pool. I'm sure it would still allow water to water permeable, yeah, so it still allows water to pass through it. It'll need to be 50 mil to stop the weeds. Well, I think the depth of blocks depth of blocks are generally 50 to 60 mil, I think. So they're saying basically fill the whole gap. I had a strange message from an old customer today. Get this. I'm not going to say who it was, But listen to this. She said, "Hope you're okay. I don't think you ever came back to resand this and treat with weed killer as agreed. It's now worse than ever." So this is a driveway that I cleaned in November last year. And she's just texted me tonight saying, "You never came back to resand." Which I did. She was out that day. I remember it well. I've got it in my calendar as well. I did go back and resand, but there was no one home, so I just did the job and sort of left. But I did also say I can pop back next month. When I first did the job, I can pop back next month to apply some weed killer. Going forward, I'd be happy to pop back whenever you think it's required. So at this point, I was going to offer like a ongoing weed killer maintenance service. This was before I realised that you needed a license to apply weed killer. And for some reason, I didn't book her in for the weed killer, but I definitely did the resanding. And so I've said, I'm confident that I resanded the drive on this date. There was no one at home that day. It looks like I never booked you in for the weed killer. Sorry about that. I've since learned that I'm not supposed to be applying weed killer without a license, so I'm not offering that service anymore. However, I do know a good local grounds maintenance team that can help if you'd like me to pass you their number. We've had pretty extreme weather this year, and I'm not really surprised that the weeds are returning 9 months later if the drive's not being maintained. Is there a reason you didn't get in contact sooner? So it's been 9 months, and she's only just messaged me to say, you didn't come back to resand, and I'm getting weeds. And it's like, well, I did resand, and if you've not done anything with the drive for like 9 months, then of course you're going to get weeds. The drive was so bad. Like, if the customer's not applying weed killer regularly, you know. And she said it's only actually got bad this last month. And then she's just talking about potentially booking in again, but it's like, if I'd have said, oh sorry, if I'd have forgot, oh sorry, I'll come back, I will resand it again. I think what's happened is some of the sand has probably washed out from between the joints from all the bad weather we've had, and then all the weeds have started coming back up through. And because she weren't in on the day, she can't remember whether I actually sanded or not, but I definitely did. And it doesn't have to get me on edge. Like, it makes me really anxious when people text me and they're not happy with something I've done. I've had it a couple of times recently where sand has been washing out from between the joints, and the customers messaged me and said, like, you know, is there anything you can do? And I'm like, yeah, of course, I'll come back and I'll brush some fresh sand in. And it really plays on my mind and makes me anxious, knowing that the customer's like having issues with the work that I've done. Not that it's really my fault, but I definitely do need to find a solution for this sand, because if this bad weather continues, it's just going to ruin all my jobs, I feel like. I almost let that text message upset me, but I just replied, trying to stay professional. And she seems okay. She's sending me smiley faces, so that must mean something. So, like I said earlier, Pure Seal called me earlier because they're forwarding a job on to me in Tewkesbury for some graffiti removal. So I've quoted for that. So what happens is, because Pure Seal have got good reputation, and they know a lot of people in the business, and they've got this approved applicator program. When people get in touch with them for like pressure washing work, because they don't do the work themselves, they'll pass it on to one of their approved applicators if they're in the area. And so they've passed this one on to me. They've got a couple of new graffiti products coming out, or already out I think, and they're going to send me over a graffiti removal van pack. The longer you work in this trade, the thicker skin you get. I do always try to remain professional though. Yeah, Dave, have you experienced much of that? Gary! Oh my, mate, that is so kind. Thank you so much. What are you doing with your money? 10 quid. Thank you for the content you provide us. Gary, that's so lovely. Thank you so much. I'm just chatting. I'm just like talking. I don't really. I suppose. I don't know. I always try and say as well, like, don't take everything I say as gospel. I'm learning as well. I've been doing this like about 2 years now, and this is just the stuff that I've picked up along the way. This isn't, by no means is any of it, set in stone. If you were to ask someone who's been in the industry, like Dave, for like 20 odd years, you might get different answers from them. So please bear that in mind when you're asking me questions. Thank you, Gary. That's so kind. Good evening, Joe. How you doing, mate? So they've got this graffiti removal van pack. Let me see. There, look. So they've got Graffiti Clear Pro, non-porous surfaces, delicate surfaces, removes ghosting, and then porous surfaces. So the job that they've forwarded to me is glass. Look, this one, look, glass, delicate surfaces. And I bet you wouldn't need a lot, so I bet these 1 litre tubs are plenty, to be fair. And I said, like, will I need hot water, will I need steam and stuff? He said, no, just these products are really good, they're really effective, so that's cool. So hopefully this will arrive on Wednesday. I haven't even won the job yet. They haven't responded to my email yet. I only sent it this afternoon, so we'll see what happens with that. But I might be doing a little video for them, just demonstrating some of this graffiti removal stuff, which will be interesting. When I lay a new driveway and sand it up for the first time, I always wear it down a few times, help stabilise it. Wear it down, do you mean whack it down? Yeah, I think with new block paving, it's sort of standard practice to brush in the kiln dried sand, go over it with a whacker plate, brush in some more, maybe one more whacker plate, and then do a final brush off. Because you do find that when it rains, you'll end up with loads of gaps and stuff where the sand didn't manage to find its way into the cracks. All good, thank you. Late to the party. My little lad had other plans tonight. Oh, nice. How old is he? What stage are you at with your little boy? Who's screaming outside? To be fair, Maya, my little girl, she's always been decent going to bed. She's been alright. We went through a stage of her getting up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, coming into our room and just immediately crying at us because we say, it's not time to wake up yet, go back to bed, you've got 1 more hour. And she'll immediately start screaming at you, and it's like, please, I'm still asleep, Please don't scream. And it's like treading on eggshells. Oh, he's 2. No way. Yeah, it gets... Oh, I'm not going to be that person that says, oh, you you won't get no sleep. I hate those people. A little bit, but not a lot. I did. It did used to bother me when I started. It's hard to think about the 50 positive jobs when you get 1 negative comment. It's because we care about the reputation in jobs. Yeah, that's totally true. If you don't care, it wouldn't bother you. But when you get like a small flurry of messages, like this one's from 9 months ago. Like, who would have expected that? And then I've had a couple of people get in touch about the sand, and then, you know, the ceiling job a couple of weeks ago that went wrong. And it really, really does affect my my baseline health, my mental health, I suppose. It really does make me anxious when I know there's a customer that's... Because most of the time, you'll do the job, they'll leave a nice review, and that's it. But then like a week or a month later, if they notice something, or the sand's dropped out, or, you know, I don't want them to, because they've left me such a lovely review and they were so happy with the work when I left. I could just say, oh look, it was fine when I left. You were happy, you know, not my responsibility anymore. But I'm not that sort of person. I want to make sure that person comes back to me next year. And so it's very difficult to. There's got to be a line where you say, no, look, it's been like a couple of months. If you had an issue, you should have come to me a lot sooner. I could have come and sorted it. But you know, nature takes over, and it's you've got to do what's reasonable, and you can't let people take advantage of you. Hey, Darren, you right, mate? Darren, how are you getting on with them new engines? I've noticed you've been putting some different engines in your... Is it the V2s? How are they going? Really surprised with the power. Darren, do you know of an item or a piece of equipment that will allow you to measure the flow rate coming out of the hose, coming out of the lance? Maybe not coming out of the lance. I know you can get a pressure gauge that fits onto like the unloader valve, for example, so you can adjust the unloader and you can see what kind of pressure you're getting. But what I want to know is, when I'm adjusting the revs, how many litres per minute are coming out of the end of the hose, and is the litres per minute affected at all by the unloader, or is that just pressure? I want to know if there's a way of measuring that. The 14 horsepower Hyundai has more guts to it than the Honda and the Briggs. Really? How are you measuring that? I've had a similar thing with one customer. Just kept calling me back saying I had missed, but they had already been done. Yeah, it's difficult, especially when when you've walked them round afterwards and you make sure they're pleased with the work. I always walk them round and I say the words, are you pleased with what I've done? Is there anything else you need me to do while I'm here? I always say those words. And as long as I get that seal of approval and they say, yep, I'm over the moon with it, you've done a great job, then I'm like, great. I'm not going to get a call back unless we have some insane weather and everything gets destroyed. I got a 25 quid tip today for doing a good job. Told me I was very conscientious. Oh, Dave. I bet you are. If I had to send a contractor around to my nan's house, you'd be the sort of guy I want to send round. You know what I mean? You can tell you've just got that like friendly. You're not going to rip people off. You're not going to take the piss. Just a nice, normal, presentable person. Like, it goes a long way. Rather than turning up in like a hoodie and trackies and smoking a cigarette and, you know, you're just a rough ass. It does make such a difference when you're just like a nice, normal person and you're personable. You can actually have a conversation with someone. There's a few on Amazon. It's just a flow meter. However, the key is one that will work under pressure. Yeah, that's the thing. I've seen the flow. I've seen the flow meters. I've seen these, but they're not suitable for high pressure, are they? Although one of them did say that it would measure up to 40 litres per minute, between 1 and 40 litres per minute. But there's a difference between 40 litres per minute at like 100 bar and 40 litres per minute at 300 bar. I don't know, I'm talking nonsense. I don't know what I'm talking about. So measuring the performance is easy. So the Honda won't drive one of our pumps with an 07 at 200 bar. The Briggs does, but it's laboured. The Hyundai ran at 205 bar. Is that what you're using on the... Is that a 200 bar 21 litre per minute pump? And you're running an 07? Because I've got a 30 litre per minute, and I think I'm running an 08 or an 09. I think I got it from where did I get it from? Rutland Pumps. I think I got the turbo nozzle from Rutland Pumps, and it was the biggest one they had. It was an 08, I think. But then on the surface cleaner, I'm running 3 03s, which makes 09, so that works out. It's just what he wants you to think. I'm sure Dave is a lovely man. Reflow doing it without the lance will give the wrong reading, by the way. OSE, so you can't measure the flow. I'm confused. A good way is to use a nozzle chart, put a smaller size in, and reset the pressure. Yeah, I'm confused. Type in high pressure flow meter. I'm guessing something like that, potentially. But I don't think these come with the chambers. I think this is just the digital gauge. Like that. Oh, maybe it does come with the chamber. For measuring chemicals, oil, water measuring tools, accuracy flow meter. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want something like with wires and stuff. I want something I can just clip on. You know what I mean? So an 045 nozzle at 100 bar will give you 12 litres per minute. Put an 045 in your machine and turn the pressure down to 100 bar and you'll have roughly 12 litres per minute. Is that because it's being restricted by the 045? If I was to put an 08 and try and turn it down to 100 bar, would the flow rate be higher? But it's being restricted by the nozzle. Darren, I feel like I need to get you on to like talk to you at some point. Let me know if you'd be down for that. Dave, we still need to organise that as well. I feel like, Darren, I've got so many questions. and you'd be like the ideal guy to answer them. Yes, unrestricted, an 08 would give a much higher flow. Okay, so it's very much dependent on the nozzle size. You'll do a podcast night. Ooh. That'd be cool. On that note, guys, I don't really have much else prepared. What have I got on this week? I'm resanding Harry's drive. I'm cutting my mum's rear bush, which she'll be very pleased with. I'm doing a rear. So, do you guys remember the driveway that went wrong? This one, the ceiling job that went wrong. Well, I've actually had to go back a third time. I've been back a third time to put more sand back into the joints and do another coat of sealer on these areas where it's gone wrong. So here, look. So this was how it was after I sealed it. Cracked areas where the sand's coming out from between the joints. The sealer's failed. It's gone all white and cloudy. I rectified that as best I could. And then she called me again to say it's kind of happened again in certain areas. So I had to go back a third time and do it again. But now, since I've been back, she actually said, which I can't believe, I got a job over the road from her neighbour who wanted me to clean and sand his drive, and we did that, and that was great. And I said, like, I can't believe you're asking me, from the disaster that I've just had over there, I can't believe you're asking me for work. Like, that's amazing. And then this lady has now asked me, after the third visit, she's still happy for me to do work for her. She's asked me to do the rear patio now. She's asked me to just clean a rear concrete area. So that's nice. That's reassuring that she's, we're still on good terms, even though she's had some issues. With the title of the video, is your work slowing down now? Yes, it is. Yeah, work has absolutely tanked. I'm still getting the odd quote come in here and there, but nothing like it was, a month, 2 months ago. I think it's a combination of very poor weather and everyone's gone on holiday and they're not really thinking about their driveways or their gardens. I think a lot of people are in the same boat. So if you're suffering with okay, Darren, thanks for popping in, mate. If any of you guys are in a similar boat, don't worry, it's not just you. Won't put a different nozzle in, damage the pump. I always thought restricting the flow would potentially damage the pump. I suppose if you're just testing it for testing purposes for 10 or 15 minutes, it might not be so bad, but I don't know what I'm talking about, so don't listen to me. Our podcasts for members only. I haven't done a podcast style episode before. I've never had any guests on these live streams. I think me and Squeaky Clean Dave are going to potentially do something if he's free at some point. We need to organise that. And yeah, I'd love to have Darren on. That'd be cool. So Darren owns PWS, for those of you who don't know. This is a pressure washer equipment supplier. They do all sorts of stuff. That's a slightly different one to the one we looked at. It's just a slightly different shell. I'm guessing it's the same design. That's a 3/4 inch. I think the one I used in my video was 1/2 inch, wasn't it? So this has probably got a little bit more flow than the one I used, or more potential flow anyway. They've got a very extensive shop. Arguably some of the best machines in the country. They do their own custom. Where are your Green Army Alpha range? Look at this stuff, insane. They also do like the van mounted systems as well. I've got this hose, very good high quality hose. They know their stuff, let's put it that way. I would never do sealing. Having done it on my own drive and it being a total headache, it's not a service I'll offer. More trouble than it's worth. Steve, yeah, arguably you're potentially right. It depends which sealer you're using. It depends what you're hoping to get from the sealer. Depends what what your expectations of the sealer are. It depends on your method of application, like if you've got the right tools to do the job, the right process. Training goes a long way as well. But it is a bit of a headache. Strangest way I ever got a job was I crashed into this car. When I gave him my card to pay for the damage, he realised I was a cleaner and asked me to do his windows. No way, that's funny. You should just go around and crashing into everyone and just giving them a card. See if it brings more work in. That's crazy. Would it do anything to pump with the return to tank? Would it do anything to the pump with the return to tank? So installing a return to tank bypass, is that what you're asking? Well, it would certainly cool the pump down, because if you've got that, when you're off the trigger, if you've got that constant flow of water going from the machine back into the tank, into the machine, into the tank, if you've got that flow of water, you're definitely going to cool the pump down if you're off the trigger for a longer period of time. With my machine, I can be off the trigger all day and it will just keep running and running and it won't overheat. Whereas if you don't have a return to tank bypass, there's a potential that you're going to damage your pump if you leave it running for too long, as far as I'm aware. In fact, here's an idea. I could take some questions, I could put up a post, questions that you guys want answering, and I'll put them to Darren if he ends up coming on for a chat, and he can just we can just go through the questions and he can sort out everyone else's problems. He can give us all the answers. What about the sealer you can put down in the damp? I think that would help with the rain, etc. Yeah, so we looked at Pure Seal earlier. They do that acrylic seal, and from what I'm led to believe, you can apply this in the damp, and I don't know how dissimilar, because it's a water-based sealer. How dissimilar is this from Screwfix's sealer? Screwfix's water-based. Oh, come on. Because I've used this a bunch of times. I used this last week actually, and I want to know the difference. And this is water-based, so does that mean you can use this in the damp as well? It says on the back, dry conditions. You've got to use it in dry conditions. And I can't get a definitive answer on whether you can use this in damp conditions or not. People who have used it say they've cleaned, sanded and sealed in the same day. It's obviously been a warm day, but that just sounds insane to me. No return to tank heats the water, but it's the pulling of the trigger introducing fresh cold water that causes the problem due to cold shock on hot parts. I mean, if you've got I understand it heats the water, but it cools the pump surely. if you're introducing cold water into the pump continuously, it is gradually going to heat your tank up and heat the tank of water. But the pulling of the trigger, introducing fresh cold water, that causes the problem due to cold shock. I always wanted to know, where does all that water go? When you're off the trigger and you don't have a return to tank bypass, your pump is still moving surely, or does the gearbox prevent it from putting stress on it? I don't know how it works. I don't know. That would be something I'd ask Darren actually. Guys, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna leave it there. We've been going for a couple of hours, and I'm gonna go and spend some time with Sophie. I want some pudding. I'm gonna go and get a tip over yogurt, and I'm gonna go and chill with Sophie for a bit. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to the new members of the channel. I saw you before I went live, and thank you Gary for the donation tonight, and all the new subscribers, and all of you guys that have been watching the new video tonight. What are we on? 589 views in 4 hours. That ain't bad, is it really? Thank you guys for watching the channel. No McFlurry, no, not tonight. Take it easy, bro. Great video as always. Good night, everybody. Good night, Dave. Good night, Joe, Gary, King Kong. The full stack. It circulates the water between the lower and upper part of the pump. If you have ceramic pistons, it can crack them with cold shock. Ah, that's interesting, Charlie. So it's not allowing more water in. It's just circulating it within the small space of the pump. That's interesting. That makes sense. Guys, thank you for watching. I'm going to go. I'm going to leave you. Have a look at the quoting tool if you haven't already. It's smout.club. Smout.club in your browser. You can get it from your phone or from your desktop, your tablet, whatever. I'm going to be slowly adding to this over the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye out. And I appreciate you all. I'll see you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.